Hi guys, my name is Emma Murphy. This is Xavier behind me. I have two children, Xavier and Arabella. She's 7 months. I've been thinking long and hard and contemplating whether to post this video. And I was and I wasn't and I was and I wasn't. I finally decided, after a lot of thinking, that yeah, I need to do this for me and my children. I need to raise awareness to other women out there. I'm 26, I'm from Dublin, I have two children. I've been in a relationship for 3.5 years with a guy who I thought was the love of my life. He was the love of my life. Loved him with all my heart. We've had ups and downs. I'll cherish the ups. I won't miss the downs. Unfortunately, last year I found out he cheated on me with one of his clients. I found out in June, but he denied it. She contacted me in November and told me she was pregnant. So, with the stress, I went into labour early. My world was turned upside down, as you can imagine. You think you know somebody, and it was such a hard time for me that I loved him so much that I tried to forgive him and I gave him another chance and I took him back. And unfortunately, I found out he did it again. On Father's weekend, he didn't see us. He spent his time with somebody else. And I found out on Friday. So I went to the gym and I confronted him. And he denied it, of course, and when I threw his phone, he punched me in the face. And it wasn't the first time. Last year he split my head open at an event, and prior to that he punched me as well and I had a black eye. And for the last 1.5 years, I've been told that I'm paranoid, I'm a psycho, I'm nuts. My insecurities will kill me one day. Even up until now, he tells me that my insecurity is going to kill me. And you know what? After Friday's events, I finally realised that, no, this is not acceptable. No man has any right to put his hand on a woman. No man at all, no matter how big, how small, no matter where you're from. It is not right to raise a hand to a woman. And it's only now that I've realised that. And I've had the courage to walk away and to go straight to my family and friends and people who love me, and have the courage to actually do something about it this time, because even once it's unacceptable, but to be made feel that it is acceptable is even worse. To be mentally tortured and told you're paranoid or insecure, that's mental torture. And no man should do that to any woman. So now, I'm a single mother of two gorgeous children. And unfortunately, when they ask where their daddy is, he's not going to be around, he's not going to be here for them anymore. Our lives are completely torn apart. And they're going to know that their daddy hit their mammy. And that's not something that children should see at all. They shouldn't see any violence. So if anyone out there has gone through something similar to what I've gone through, you need to find the courage and get away from anything that's as unhealthy as violence. Go to your friends and family, people who love you, who care about you, and talk to them. But especially if you have children, it's not a good environment for your children to be around. No children should see that. My little fellow was in the back of the car on Friday and he's screaming, and I looked at him and it broke my heart. Although he's only 18 months, he shouldn't have to see that. So if there is any women who feel that they can't get out of a relationship or they can't walk away, if it's not safe, you have to. And if you are arguing and if your guy or your man does hit you or raise a hand to you, you have to walk away, because more often than not, if it happens once, it will happen again. So I hope I've raised awareness to some women, and if it has hit anyone's heart, maybe share the video to them. Thanks.
The video you just watched is heartbreaking, to say the least. It's so crushing in a way. It gnaws at the very humanity of a person. But let me just say this. This video may not be going in a direction you may be expecting. And let me just add, at the end of the video, I'm going to give you 4 points that may save your relationship or may save your life. Having said that, I would like to take a hard right turn, and I'd like to discuss the unseen side of abuse. The unseen side of abuse. The seen side is what you just viewed. The seen side is what we usually hear about. The seen side is what jails are full of, people that commit such atrocious crimes, which are heartbreaking. I mean, as a society, we can never get used to such an event. But there is also an unseen side of abuse. You know, it's amazing that things that are unseen tend to be ignored until we can no longer overlook them. Air is the unseen, but try cutting it off for a while and all of a sudden it becomes very important to you. But in a more practical sense, germs for many, many years were unseen. So we treated the body with leeches or things that we could see. Why is that? Because we did not understand those things that were unseen. But if you ignore the unseen long enough, there will come a point in time, well, it will require us to give it attention.
What happened? April 25th, 2020, she ended up attacking me in my sleep. I ended up breaking her nose. She ended up flipping everything on me and called the cops. And before I was arrested, I gave the cops my login info for my security camera. I was like, look, watch this. It's all self-defense. Whatever, they held me for 2 days. I was charged with a felony. The first time I was arrested ever. It took him 2 days to go through all of the hours of footage and decided, yeah, this is self-defense. Let's drop his charges and let him go. She picked me up from the courthouse, and as soon as we got home, she was ranting and raving about the whole thing. Decided to go through my phone while I was in the shower. Flipped out because she saw that I told my mom that she's hitting me. I felt like it was going to escalate to violence, so I packed the bag and I left. I slept in my car for 4 days while I applied for an apartment. I was approved. We didn't talk for a whole month. She texted me May 20th and said, hey, this is hard, can we talk? She sweet-talked me, asked to see my apartment. I was like, yeah, sure, come over for dinner. She manipulated me. So she comes over. About 2 hours into the evening, she decides to go to the kitchen for a drink. Comes back, lunging at me with a knife. Chases me around my apartment. I lock myself in the bathroom and call 911. Cops come, she's arrested, filed a restraining order.
And the men in your lives, all of them, if they've ever been in that situation, and I guarantee you'll be shocked to see the results.
Where have you been?
Why do you think that?
Because 1 in 3 women are domestically abused.
Well, 1 in 4 men are also domestically
Nobody
abused.
cares. They're just men.
Do you hate yourself right now?
Men are bad.
You're victim
Women are
blaming.
good.
Aren't
Men
you
are
against
bad.
that?
Most men are domestic.
When it comes to men in abusive relationships, you can place them in 3 categories. Category 1 are men that abuse to maintain control. They are acting out their aggression to control a woman. Category number 2 are men who are provoked by the woman to put his hands on her. And category 3 are men who are provoked and refuse to touch the woman. Now, I'm not going to talk about category 1 today, okay? I may in the future. I'm not going to talk about category 2 because, believe me, there's no reason to put your hands on a woman. I don't care what she says or what she does. Nothing justifies being physical with her. And trust me, I know women will push every button in the world to take you there. And we're going to talk about that. But still, nothing justifies becoming physical. But for the time we have left, I want to talk about category 3. The men who are abused verbally and do not retaliate in kind with physical abuse. Now you may wonder, what can a woman do to push a man to the edge? Name calling, belittling, attacking his ego, comparing him to other men from the past, saying that, my ex-boyfriend was this or that or the other. When you take your shirt off, they'll make a comment about your physique. When you bring your paycheck home, they'll make a comment about the money you earn. When you bring up your achievement, they will belittle it just to keep you in your place, to emasculate you with words. If a woman gets to know you well enough, she will know every button to push to set you off. And she will continue pushing that button to get a rise out of you. It's a form of manipulation and power. You see, if a person was in a situation, say she was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and she heard domestic abuse in the house, she was powerless to do anything about it. Flash forward, she's 25, 35, 40 years old, and now she has power. She can control the situation, and she can do it without ever touching you or becoming physical. She can manipulate you just like Geppetto with Pinocchio, pulling strings emotionally to evoke emotions within your soul, which provokes one to ask the question, why would one stay in a relationship where they are being manipulated with words, where they're being castigated by their parents or by their paycheck, or somebody's belittling their achievements? Why would you stay in that situation? Because we're men. We're men, and we're trained to be tough. So when she talks about you and she says that you didn't do A, B, or C, it hurts, but what do? You walk it off. She talks about your paycheck, walk it off. She compares you to her last man, you walk it off. She talks about your height, your weight, your family. Women will be so low sometimes that they even talk about a dead parent, to talk about a child that you lost. Why? Because it's a way to manipulate you, to pull strings, to provoke something within you, to make you act out in a way so they can now control you. It's a form of manipulation. And yes, it's also a form of abuse. And the insidious nature of this, why it can be so painful, because unlike women, men tend not to talk about these things. You're not gonna have a man in a barbershop talking about his wife saying ABC to him last night. You're not gonna call your friend up and on the basketball, be dribbling the ball and say, yeah man, she said I was short as... You're not gonna do that. We tend to hold these things in. We bottle them up. And we just walk it off. Because that's a sign of being a man, right?
I just really wanted to highlight this comment. All too often I hear that it's not the same when a woman hits a man. With the obvious exception of self-defense, when a woman hits a man, it's abuse. If it doesn't hurt him, it's still abuse. If he doesn't require medical attention, it's still abuse. Well, it's not like he's bleeding. It's still abuse. Women do not get to hit men just because it probably won't hurt. And for clarity, it can hurt. And that joke so many people make, right? What did he do to piss her off? What's the implication there? That there's something that a person can do to deserve to be hit? I won't apply that logic to when a man hits a woman, so why would we apply that logic to when a woman hits a man?
The comments you see on the scroll below are from men. These are comments from men all over the world who saw content like this. They had a forum whereby they could relieve themselves of the pain. Dare I say, some of the stories you read below, people and their family have not heard. I invite you to come back and watch this video again and just read the stories below. Because these are men who are hurting, who've been told to walk it off, deal with it, take it. It's just words. She's a woman. How can that get to you? Trust me, even your friends, if you tell them that, will be saying, you must have done something to her for her to act out like that. Even people in your family will be thinking in the back of their mind, yeah, but she's just a 5 foot tall woman. She's so sweet. So you bottle it up because you don't want to deal with that as well as what you got to go home to at night. Can you imagine living in the environment in the videos that you just saw from those guys? That right there that you just saw is going on in somebody's house right now. And guess what? Even their friends don't know about it. Even their closest family members don't know about it. So they suffer in silence with those things that are unseen. But another reason we suffer in silence is because, especially as Christian men, we don't want to break our vow to God. So we allow abuse to continue and continue and continue in our lives. And then let's just be very honest and transparent. Sometimes we don't want to have everything taken away. Imagine having your 401k taken, your savings taken, your house taken, your dog taken. These things happen every day. In a system whereby 80% in the African American community, 80% of the divorces are filed by women. Yet 90% of women walk away from the divorce financially improved. Friends, a guy shared a story with me whereby he built a house literally with his hands, not just paid for it. He literally built it from the dirt. He pulled it out the ground. He pulled his dream house out the ground and built this house with his hands. He would go by the house on weekends. He would go there after work and literally with friends and family members built his own home. And then he met the woman of his dreams. But soon after that, the abuse began, but he stayed. And then she started going through his savings, but he stayed. And then she started getting physical with him, but he stayed. And then one day he came home and caught her in bed with a friend. That was the last straw. So divorce papers was filed. He lost his house. She got his house and a portion of his retirement. And the guy she was sleeping with, he moved into the house. Yeah, it can get real ugly. And as a point of utter transparency, I have gone through similar situations. And as a pastor, you may ask, well, how did I come through it? Well, here's what I did. I consulted this 2,000-year-old manuscript. And in this book of wisdom, I found out that you can have a generational curse. What is a generational curse? It's something that your great-great-great-grandparents could have done that is passed down through their seed. Let me put it this way. A girl can hear her mother and father screaming in the house, or her grandparents or great-great-grandparents, as the case may be. She can hear that happening, and it can be a part of her that she don't even know how to reconcile. So it stays within her heart, within her soul, within her spirit, and it festers there. She can then one day get married, and let's say she's got a great guy, a guy who didn't go through these things, but there's something unresolved in her spirit, that generational curse thing. So it's eating at her. It's the unseen, insidious nature of domestic violence. She don't even realize what it's doing to her until one day she starts an argument. One day she starts to flirting. One day she swings on him. She provokes him to wrath. Why? Because it's a place of her familiar. She don't even realize that it's something that is familiar to her spirit. But she has provoked this thing that is so disgusting and dirty into a relationship. In Dante's Inferno, he writes, a man, or in this case a woman, can make a heaven out of hell, or a hell out of heaven. So what do you do if you find yourself in this situation? I'm gonna give you 4 points. First and foremost, in that 2,000-year-old manuscript, we read words that Jesus shared that can be applied to this very situation. He talks about bringing it to that person, bringing that conflict to that person. Sit down with your wife and explain to her how this makes you feel. Believe it or not, she may not even realize that it's hurting you to that effect. Now, if she's putting her hands on you, she knew that, but she may not know that the words she's using are having the effect they're having on you. It may just be her regurgitating things that she heard in her own family, that she was raised around. So give her the benefit of the doubt and explain to her, when you say this or when you do that, when you get on the phone with an ex-lover and you tell them you love them, when you call your boss and you flirt with him on the phone, these things make me feel a certain kind of way. Let her know that. Number 2, let someone give you wise counsel in regards to the relationship. You may be seeing things the wrong way, okay? But if she has not listened to you, maybe she'll listen to a third party, giving their professional opinion. Number 3, the third thing you must do is bring it before the church. And in this situation, I don't mean jump up in church and announce it to the body, but bring it to a church elder, bring it to the pastor, bring it to someone who's going to give you wise, godly counsel in regards to your relationship. Let them share with you what the Word of God says about your situation. And then number 4, if this relationship has gotten to the point where it's physical, you gotta leave. You gotta leave. Or if she's threatening violence against you, or if she's saying to you, and unfortunately I've heard this one, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me. What they're doing is trying to provoke you to do something that could literally cost you your job, can cost you your reputation, could even cost you your freedom. If a person is doing that to you, you've got to get out of that situation as fast as you can. You know, in slavery, they had the house Negroes and the field Negroes. The house Negroes knew they had favor with massa. So if the house Negro wanted the field Negro to do anything and the field Negro refused, what would they do? They would get massa to intervene. Women know when it comes to the law, they are the house Negroes. Their word is going to be given more weight than your word, especially if you're a darker-hued, large black man like myself. So therefore, you got to protect yourself, guys. You got to get out of that situation. And the moment they start doing things like that, get your cell phone and record it. Record it. Because it's going to be hard for them to believe you in a court of law. Trust me, I know that's not the way it's supposed to be, but that's how it is. If you are dealing with a situation like this in your relationship, I want you to remember that God's got you. There's a beautiful song that talks about Christ being our firm foundation, the rock on which we can stand. When everything around you is shaking, you will never be more glad. So you can place your hope in Jesus because he'll never let you down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? And then the song says, he won't. He won't. He won't. He won't fail you. I know your other half is letting you down. I know family and friends ignore you. I know they don't understand what you're going through. I know they're saying walk it off. I know they're saying man up. Stop crying and complaining about it. Those are just love taps. I understand that. I know the police are not going to believe you. I follow you on that. I know she has broken your heart. But guess what? A foundation is something that you can depend on. A foundation is something that will give you your moral center when everything around you is in chaos. Go back to your foundation. When the ground is shaking up under you, go back to your foundation because he will not fail you now. God loves you. I love you. And don't you ever forget it. Hang in there, my brother. God's got you. Hey, listen, the video right here is a video that YouTube thought you would want to see next. Check it out.